Welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast, where two friends come together to discuss all things hockey and where everyone's opinion is appreciated. Please welcome your hosts, Merrick Zemp and Colin Simpson.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 34. My name is Merrick Zemp, and with me, as always, my buddy Colin Simpson. How are you doing tonight, Simps?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Fantastic. You know what? One thing that definitely did not happen last year was a series lead for the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, they've changed that already. What a great start and what a great game. Whether you're a Panthers fan or an Oilers fan, it was a heck of a game to watch, and it was a good time all the way around.
Yeah, it's a great game for hockey. Like you said, even if you're not, cheering for one or the other, there was some fantastic hockey back and forth. Lots of hits, lots of goals and highlights, and a bit of a chippy game to start out. And what more can you ask for than an overtime drama to kick the series off?
Yeah, and I mean, for a series that the majority of people are predicting is going to go 6 or 7 games, that this will be an evenly matched, hard-fought, every inch is going to be a battleground type of thing. An overtime game 1 victory for the Oilers is obviously exactly what people are kind of expecting. So tell me some highlights. What'd you see that you liked right off the bat?
Well, the Oilers came out, in my opinion, with a lot of jump, as we kind of expected. Home ice, excited to be back there, feed on the energy of the crowd. And I felt like they came out really strong. They were, I don't forget what their initial shots were, but they had the most chances to start. And obviously they jumped on the game real quick. I think at the 1 minute mark, took about 2 or 3 shots, kind of bounced out nicely to Draisaitl. He was able to corral it. It was kind of bumping around. He was able to get a stick on it nicely and tuck it home. And that obviously helps keep the momentum at that time that you're trying to build on, because sometimes you go into a building, you come out gunning and you can have the crowd silenced real quick. But this kind of kept the momentum going. That held pretty true, but then you can start to see Florida was kind of settling in. The crowd kind of comes down. You lose a bit of that initial buzz. And the energy of both teams was pretty nervous in the beginning too. I did notice that there was a lot of guys falling down, a lot of guys bumbling the puck. You could see the nerves a little bit. I don't care, professional or not. That type of environment is still a bit hard to play in.
Yep.
And then the game kind of settled in a little more even at that point. Felt like Florida started to get back and play their game a little. And then they end up getting a goal from Bennett, which happened to be a controversial goal. To say the least. When I first watched it, obviously online, I instantly thought it's called off, and then without seeing any replays or anything like that. So at first I was like, yeah, instantly I saw him go right into the goalie. I'm like, that's coming back, no doubt about it, right? And then there was kind of some talk, and then they started to show the replays, and then you could see obviously he does trip over Kulak's skate. Whether you're going to call that a trip by Kulak, because that's kind of where sometimes I wonder where the differentiation should have been. Is there, I fell over Kulak's skate, which is kind of my fault.
Or he kicked my legs out.
He put his leg there and tripped me, which would be his fault. So in that scenario, I think if they couldn't tell that, they made the call really quickly. They called it like within like a minute.
Yeah,
went to the replay. Boom, they were back out. So I don't hate the call. And I don't like the call. I'm kind of indifferent on it.
They didn't make the call quickly. They made the call on the ice. It was a goal. Then it was challenged, and they defeated the challenge quickly.
That's what I meant.
It
didn't take them long to look at the thing. They got that angle, in my opinion, because the top angle didn't show it. It just still kept looking like it was bad. And then when they got that lower angle, you could see that's when they looked at. As soon as they saw it, they're like, okay, he's fallen over this guy. He didn't go in there by himself technically. Right?
Well,
if he doesn't hit the foot, he probably doesn't fall into him.
You know that Bennett is going to try to avoid contact with the goalie at all costs if he can. So obviously there had to be some sort of contact on this one.
Yeah. Like I don't like, you know what I mean? Like it's the type of thing where Bennett rides the line, but he also knows if he bumps the goalie in any way, there's replays.
Oh yeah.
It's going to get called off. If you literally bump a goalie nowadays in today's hockey, because people always say, "Oh no, they're trying to bump him." No, you're not anymore. I don't believe that. I believe you're trying to get in his face.
Depends
but
if he wants him out for the series, right?
Yeah,
Ask Toronto fans.
Yeah, but if you're looking at costing your team a goal almost every single time.
Yeah.
Right. This one was lucky.
I think they said in the game they're 0 for 4 on challenges for goalie interference this year in the playoffs.
Wow. Maybe they're not goalie interference.
Well, no, I just why they're calling those. I mean, one of those obviously was that one for, I believe, for LA against Edmonton.
Yeah.
Right? One of them would have been that one, which was like, it made no sense.
But that
why
was a
he
bad
called
one.
it.
That was a bad one. This one was this one made sense to actually call.
Bit. Yep.
In this scenario. So again, I the only reason I feel a little indifferent, I feel like the refs got the call right. If you were to take out any concept of intent, I feel like going forward, I would like to see that kind of concept thought of more in that type of play, where if I just fall over a guy and he hasn't been moving, then I feel like then that's on me. Yep. Just like in soccer, right? They tell you like you're in charge of your body, whether you mean to fall into a guy and take him out. You have to be in control of your body at all times. That's the rule. And in those scenarios,
with hockey, right? Obviously, it's your stick is the same thing.
Correct. So you're going to see people on both ends.
That's your call. Correct. That's your
doesn't matter if it gets flinged up in the air or not. You still have to control your stick.
Oh, we wouldn't want it to be flinged.
Well, no, the other guy coming up underneath your stick.
It?
Yeah.
Okay. You know I mean? As long as somebody flinged it. As long as we're good.
Lifts a stick up and it hits a guy in the face, and you'd be like, well, he lifted my stick. And they say, well, too bad. Control your stick.
Yeah, but I mean, that happened to Kapanen. He hit Rantanen's stick, and Rantanen hit himself in the face, and he still got
Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah, that was a bad one, obviously.
Anyway, we're not getting into that. But it was definitely one call on that was that the puck obviously went in off of Bennett. Not really, not much of a proud moment to get a goal, but it was hit his stick, or no, I think it hit his skate maybe, and went in after he hit him or as he hit him, something like that. Obviously, like you said, the challenge was not accepted, so they got a penalty for it, and then a little bit of a gap, and I believe it was Schmidt threw it over to Marchand for a wide open look on the side. I don't know. They're down 2-1 going into the second period. I would say realistically, Skinner had a decent period. I thought he was okay. I thought the first one, he kind of gets sat on, kind of deflects off. And then the other one, he's coming across for a wide open Marchand on the power play.
Yeah, I would say bad.
I don't know that I would blame him on either one.
But at the same token, your goaltender's job is to save the puck. And if you've allowed 2 goals on 7 shots, I'm not going to come out of any period and say you played well.
Well, depends though. I mean, the first one's a challenge.
Really.
The second one, nobody's saving that second one.
No, but either way, my point is you don't get judged on, oh, okay, I feel he should have got that one or not. Well, no, you do for your own team. Of course you do. You're a homer.
Oh,
but if you look at it any other time, 2 goals on 7 shots, and you're going to call that good goaltending.
Yeah.
Why?
I wouldn't blame him on the 2.
Why would you call it good goaltending?
Because I wouldn't blame him on the 2.
I don't blame any goalie then. Every nice shot, I could just say it's a nice shot, and you're not going to call it. If I let in 5 goals out of 7 shots, and they were nice shots, I don't care. Your whole job is to save the puck. Be there earlier.
Yeah.
Don't let the puck go in.
That's not exactly
That's
how
your
it
entire
works.
job.
Yeah.
That is how it works. That's exactly how it works. That's your job.
It's the poorest part of how it works, though.
But it don't matter. That's the whole point of your job. If a guy makes a good shot, you should have been over there.
Judging.
Yeah,
we can judge however we want.
Well, you can, but you're judging stupid at this point. Like you got to stop. You got to start analyzing games how they happen, not how you hope they happen, or watch your Oilers and think they can't do wrong, or Skinner has a good game when he's got at that point, what's that, a 7 or 8 goals against average with a .470 save percentage, and he's had a great period.
2 and 3,
great period.
You multiply them out, it'd be 6. But anyway, The point is, at that point, right, whether you blame him or not, that's decent. He made the saves he needed to make, and he missed a couple. One was a bad deflection. The other was a wide open look on the power play. I say that's not bad.
Then if you're going to base it on that, then Bobrovsky was a god in the first period.
No.
Has to be. Saved 13 saves.
Yeah.
1,000 times better than Skinner.
Sure.
So he's a god. The other guy played a good period. The other guy played like a god. I would hate to see a bad period by Skinner then. What's that, 4 goals on 7 shots? 5 goals on 7 shots?
Yeah. You telling me you haven't seen it? Because I've seen
with Skinner, yeah.
Anyway, the point is, when it comes to that, my point is simply that whether or not it's just getting beat, right? It's just beaten with a shot. It's being there and just not making the saves, not making the plays that he should make. That first one, I think he's in the right spot, and it goes off.
I agree. The
Bennett's
first one,
to
no.
the side.
I think he can save the Marchand one.
I think he almost did, but it's still, when you're talking about a pass like that across the crease on a power play.
No, but I think lots of goalies make that save. Lots of goalies make that save. Lots.
Some.
It's how quickly you move across. You read the play. There was only one huge lane there.
Yeah.
That lane was massive. You could see that it's a massive lane. You move across, you make the save. So that's my point, is he makes that. It's not like he can't make the save because 3 guys are laying on him. It's a normal pass on a power play to the other side.
Yeah.
One whole side to the other side. That's plenty of time to slide across. It's not like a 2-footer. You're coming and driving at him, and then at the middle, and you send it to the side for Draisaitl for a 1T. Those type of goals, then you can't save that.
But it's also looking to see where you can actually see it from, right?
Oh, no, he might not have seen where the pass was going from.
There's the rest of the team is going to be basically in front of him. There's a couple guys on the half boards. There's going to be somebody up top.
But if you're a goalie, you're not looking off to the side and seeing a wide open Florida guy. He didn't move into that lane. He was there the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, where's Nurse in front? Why do you got 2 guys standing right in front of Skinner and nobody on Marchand that's wide open to the right? So, yeah, no, it's a tough
Don't get me wrong. I say the same thing every time I watch Ovechkin score, and you go, and Stamkos score, and you're like, you guys know where they are. They've never moved.
Have somebody standing
they've never moved from that spot in 10 years. So I guess that being said, it is just the way it works.
One other thing about the first period before we continue on with the game is the calls, the first period. A lot of penalties, a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, the challenge was won and failed, so that's an easy penalty. A couple by Perry, some others. What did you think? The officiating seemed like maybe they were going to corral the game a little bit, maybe go a little overboard in the first, and then obviously it went out of there, and I don't know if there was another penalty up until like overtime.
Yeah, there wasn't much after that. They definitely let them play a lot after the first period. Now, even with the first period, there was only 1 power play, I guess. No, how many was there in the first period?
No, there was, I know Perry got at least 2 penalties, and I know Florida got a couple, and I think Perry got his second one on the power play as well. So it was
because I see the Oilers got 4 power plays, and Florida only had 2 the whole game and 4 for Oilers.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been much. Yeah. So, but most of it did happen, obviously, in that period because they did let them play it. And thankfully, and I think that was the right play. I think that's the way most refereeing should be done. Set a tone early, and then you don't have to do it all night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Why that one's never followed.
Yeah. I think sometimes the players don't settle in as nicely as they did, I think. I feel like they realized they found the level of chippiness they were allowed and then kind of stayed in that range, so the rest didn't have to.
For a couple teams that don't really see each other that much, they seem to have long memories. Because there was a lot of cross checks. There was a lot of after the whistles, face washes. At one point, call me a homer, whatever you want, but there was at one point, and they showed from the angle was behind the net, and you could see Brad Marchand like just throwing punches over and over and over again. He's throwing punches. So, and they were probably around his shoulder height, right? So somebody's knee was getting punched really effectively.
I saw that. He did it like 6 in a row. That was so weird.
And right at his shoulder level, right? So it had to be somebody's knee felt it, right? Somebody's injured today about that. But
I did see that play. I was confused. Like, the linesman finally broke him up, but I was like, he threw like 6 punches in a row. Now, that being said, like, they did let a lot of stuff go. Even my wife asked me once, I think it was Kane after the play. I think it was 2 guys. There's Draisaitl and somebody mixing it up, which was fine. They were hitting each other in the face. That's fine. And then out of nowhere, Kane comes in and punches the guy in the side of the head. Yeah. And I was like, what? Well, he's like, are you allowed to do that? I'm like, well, and it was supposed to, no. The other guys hitting each other, I'm completely fine with. That's just 2 guys squared up, talking trash, doing face washes to each other. That's fine. But the skating in and just punching a guy in the head, probably not okay.
The part of it before that, though, was that it was kind of twofold. One, it was, don't bother Draisaitl, which I thought was a good move. The second one was Draisaitl's probably another 5 seconds away from just losing it and getting a penalty himself, because that's what he seems to do. So I thought it was a great play by Kane. Just kind of enough of a punch in the head, shove him out of the way, whatever type of move that he didn't get a penalty for it, but he also kept Draisaitl from
but that's lucky. That's lucky though, because he deserved a penalty. He should have came in and just got in the way and pushed the guy. You don't sucker punch a guy on the outside and then not get a penalty.
Oh, it was a marginal sucker punch.
No, it was a sucker punch.
No,
Should have had a penalty. There's no doubt about that.
I don't think so. Marchand, 6
course you
punches,
don't.
should have had 3 penalties.
Of course you don't. You only see one team on the ice, ever.
There is only one team on the ice. The
Wow.
team with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
It's the only thing we need. So obviously the second period, Bennett gets a nice play. The Oilers did back check, right? And he springs for a breakaway. He scores on Skinner. It's 3-1. After that, you've got Arvidsson chips in, 3-2 going on into the third. Again, not a lot of power plays, not a lot of anything, just kind of lots of shots by Florida. And then coming into the third period, down by 1, Edmonton does what they need to do. They come out, I think the shots were 16-2 or something like that in the third period. They obviously get the tying goal. Pressing, pushing hard, couldn't get anything, couldn't get another one to win it, and then go into overtime, and they carried the majority of the play in overtime as well. A few chances by Florida, obviously, and then eventually, who was it? Nosek, I think, threw it over the glass and got the power play, and they finished it on the power play.
Yeah.
From McDavid.
It was mostly Edmonton, I'd say, in the overtime. However, there's no doubt in my mind Florida should have ended it in the first minute and a half. They had almost 3 open tap-ins in the first minute of that overtime. I was shocked that we were still going. I was like, but again, you watch that happen and go, there's no doubt in my mind the Oilers are winning this period. Because when a team can't finish 3 like that and it just bounces weird and hits a post, and these are just, they should have been tap-ins. They were wide open goal. Yeah. And they just couldn't put it in the net. And you're just like, okay, you know it's going to be one of those games. That's the way sports always works. Team comes down, dominates, goes the other direction. Goal. Now it didn't go down the other direction. Obviously, it went almost the rest of the period. It went the rest of the period. But it just means that you don't.
It's going to go that way.
You don't feel like it's going to be there night. And like that third period, a lot of guys like on Flames Nation that were talking about it today, saying the Oilers just always find a way to get that goal. You just feel it when they got within 1. That they just always find a goal when they need it. It's the way it's working this playoffs. They have been behind so many times. And this, like we're talking about today, some of them like coming up on records of how many comebacks they've had to make in a playoffs for teams, but they always seem to find a goal. Now the third, I guess the system worked. They played differently than I'm used to them. They were just throwing anything on net. Like that was the first time I'd seen them kind of get away from neutral zone play. A lot of in the zone play. They were just ripping any puck from anywhere, and that's why the shot total went mental, because they were just zipping on. Now if that was just a different tactic, or I'm not sure. I think Florida still played well in that period. They still kept, even the announcers were talking about saying, and I think Bex and those guys were talking about saying, like, usually the teams that Edmonton has played against have just parked the bus, and it has not worked out well. Whereas Florida is a team that just doesn't park the bus. They just keep trying to go down the other way and try to score goals, and they just couldn't get the extra one to create that extra 2-goal space. And what Edmonton does, and they always do, is find a goal. They'll keep coming at you, and eventually you'll get a chance. Now, obviously, it's a shitty way to end it in the overtime, to flip a puck out and have it won that way, rather than to just watch 2 teams just battle each other, and to just be given almost a gift at that point. Like, no choice. It's a penalty. It's a penalty, right? Yeah. It's just dumb of the guy to be even flipping a puck at any time like that. Just put it down some other different way. You get punished for it, but gives you something to look forward to for game 2. That's for sure. That was pretty exciting. I'm hoping we get more of that, no matter what, no matter which way it goes.
And really even, right? And I mean, I think one thing that you saw in this one that you didn't see that much with Dallas and stuff is that you did see that pushback from Florida, and you saw some good chances and just more balanced. I mean, that's how you would expect this series to go. That there will be moments when either team is dominating, when it can't seem to get out of the other team's end, when all of that kind of stuff. You kind of expected, Vegas to do that a bit more against Edmonton. You expected, Dallas, obviously, you thought Toronto would do that a bit more. They went to 7, but I didn't really feel like they owned Florida in some of the games that I watched. Carolina, obviously, like, I thought the last couple games were a little more even and everything, but I still never felt like there was any real stretches when I watched them that they really owned the play.
I felt like the Vegas and Dallas, based on their teams through the past 3-4 years, I felt like that the way Florida played was the way they were going to play against the Oilers. And that was what was surprising about those 2 series, is they were both teams that were always considered like bigger teams, deep teams, You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they were going to always put pressure on you and really pin you in and give you nothing easily. And they didn't. And Florida was the first time I think Edmonton's been challenged this playoffs. And it made for a great game. And like you said, could be vice versa, said the other way. This was Florida's first real challenge coming the other way from hits and, speed coming at them and who you got to defend and how you got to play. And you got to be even more careful on your penalties and stuff like that because you can be punished a little more. And so, these two teams match up well against each other. There's a reason why they went to Game 7 last year.
Well,
this wasn't just a fluke. Yeah, two teams are back again. These are two teams that have proven that they have all the different aspects to be there. And it's not like one team belongs there more than the other. They just are two teams that are so evenly matched. Maybe play a bit different style, but they just clash well. And every facet of the team is strong. And again, though, I still look at this as I talked about the other day. I still think it's goaltending again, though. Like, I don't think Skinner had a bad game. I think Bobrovsky letting in that Arvidsson goal probably killed the Panthers. That was a weak goal to let in.
Yeah.
I think
when
if
you're up 3-1, you got to hold the fort. You got to
close that in. You're a Vezina winning trophy goaltender and you let a goal like that in that important a game. I don't think Skinner let in a goal like that. That was like, oh, you got to have that one back guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, he's out-battled him in that sense, and that's all it was with one goal.
Yep.
Beyond that, I think that's probably what we're going to see more of, though. I think it's going to be which goalie lets in a bad goal that gives the other team any sort of glimpse of momentum in the game to try to take a stranglehold on that game because it's that close that it teeters any different way.
Well,
you just don't know.
Yeah, I think that Bennett goal, that second one, the fact that he earned it, right? You know what I mean? Like the first one, he got a goal, but you didn't really feel it because it was just, you didn't even know he got it. I think they gave it to the Verhaeghe first or something like that.
I thought it was from the point,
right? And so, whatever. But that next one, it was him beating the defense, coming in alone and beating Skinner. Like it was all around. It was a beating for the goal as opposed to just sort of a moment that happened. And I think it sucked the life out of the building. I think it sucked the life out of the team a little bit. And then, Arvidsson just came in and just ripped that little slap shot thing he did. And it just sneaked under the arm and went from there. So, it totally brought the bench back in it. It brought the building back in it.
Oh,
now
absolutely.
It's like, okay, now we're only a goal down with a whole period to go. We got this. We've been here 100 times this year. Let's just do it.
Yeah, the margin of error is very tiny in this series, right? Like in some games, you could, play a little bad for a little bit of stretch. But in this one, I feel like if you take a 6 minutes off, you're going to be down 2 goals. And so I don't think you really have that ability to have any longer stretches of poor play.
Well, and that's one of the things they talked about. I think it was 2 years ago when they played Vegas. Edmonton learned that, you have to be able to rebound quickly and do that because a 5-minute stretch could take you from a 2-1 lead to a 4-2 deficit, and you might not recover. And so, with this one, I think they had 3-1. They had a couple bad minutes in that second period. And I think realistically in that second period, they only had a few minutes that were bad. Florida played a really good second period and had more pressure, had more everything. But that goal gave Edmonton enough life that they weren't coming back needing 2 in the third. They're coming back just needing 1 to tie. We'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, you don't have to overstretch yourself when there's only 1.
Yeah.
You don't have to push too hard and leave yourself open at the back.
Yeah. Start giving up chances and everything else to make up for it and everything else. You've got enough time. You're all right. And so, that was a huge one. So, no, it was a really good game. And obviously, for an Oilers fan and a homer like you keep calling me, it was a hell of a result.
I feel like if I don't mention the other team, you won't even know they're there.
You know what? It's 1-0. Nobody should know they're there.
I think it's 1-0 in cups as well. But for the other team, you gotta win something first.
Sorry, or did you mean Flames lifetime?
Yeah, don't matter.
1-0. 1-0. I guess them compared to Vancouver. That's about it.
We've won our cups almost at the exact same time, dude. 89 and 90. That's the last time we've seen cups. So,
if I had a ring for every Oilers One, I'd have to be on the second hand, hopefully
If
by
I had
this year.
7 Hall of Famers put onto my hockey team, I would have 6 cups as well.
Oh, geez. Now we got to hear 80s Homer Flames fan. Oh,
Pretty
enough.
easy. Pretty easy when you got Wayne Gretzky and that gifted to you for nothing. Pretty easy.
Gifted. Oh, it's nuts.
Didn't
Anyway.
draft him. Didn't have to trade for him. Gifted. But
it's always them.
All that matters is, like I said, is a person, and there's going to be millions of people like me who could give a crap less who wins, but you just want to watch exciting hockey. And I was partially obviously hoping for a Leafs and Edmonton final, thinking that would be an offensive juggernaut. But I'm kind of more glad that it's these two, only in the sense that I feel like the Leafs would do Leaf things and they would play really good one game and then the Oilers would just smoke them 6-1 the next game. And whereas I don't feel like either one of these teams is going to come out unless a goalie just completely gaffes on every play. Yep. I think the games are going to be nice and tight and close. And so it's great for hockey to have these two teams playing against each other.
Well, and that's it. And like you said, all the hitting, all the action, even when they're not actually scoring, it was still moments of excitement constantly. On both ends, you could see there was pucks going through the goaltenders. There was, all that kind of stuff. Like, it was really close plays, the crowd into it, all of that every time. So, I think it's going to be a crazy good series. And game one was an absolute masterpiece. So we'll see what goes on from there. So for everybody listening, I just want to remind you, you can find us at www.sportsbuds.com. That's sportsbudz.com, or DZ, of course, in the US. You can also find us on all your favorite Spotify and Apple and every other podcast site that you may use, as well as TuneIn. And now we are, of course, on YouTube as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the future episodes. And you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. So don't forget, log in and drop us a line. See what you want to hear. Tell us how Simpson's wrong. There was no gift from Gretzky. The Oilers were great in the 80s. He just has to accept it. He's been mad for a long, long time, folks. And sometimes you just got to accept that's how he is.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Everybody take care.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.